What's up, everybody? Cole Sands here again with your weekly fishing report. It is January 24th, 2022, and let's talk about some Lake Chickamauga fishing. This past week was really, really good. I mean, I had a couple guide trips, had some other stuff I had to do, so I only had 2 guide trips. But man, those 2 guide trips I got to go on were awesome. The first day we had a little bit over 25 pounds. And it was just we didn't have no real, giants, but it was just a solid bag of big fish. We had like a 576, a 544, a 530 something, a 4.5, and then another one over 4, and a couple more, heavy 3s. So it was just a really good day of fishing. Caught some really solid fish. And then my next guide trip, it was really tough. I don't know what was going on. The whole day was tough, but we got lucky. Like I said, the water temps, 42 to 47. And we got this one little area, the water temp was 43, it was cold. And, I was kind of fishing off the bank a little bit, thinking that the fish would be out a little bit deeper with that cold water. And they came up schooling in like a foot of water. I mean, blowing up in that super cold water. It surprised the crap out of me. And we went up there, man, we caught them every cast for about 10 minutes. And that really made our day that day. We had, I don't know, probably 17 or 18 pounds. And that was all off one spot. That happens a lot in Chickamauga. You'll struggle all day. I mean, it'll be a grind, and then just something will click. You'll pull it to the right spot at the right time when the fish are feeding, and you'll load the boat. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me out on this lake. And that's just something Chickamauga is known for. For me, it's a lot of hours of grinding and struggling and trying to figure out something, and then it happens like that. A lot of my big bags I've caught out here, it happens so fast it'll make your head spin. But so like I said, the water temp's cold. The fish seem to be super, super grouped up. That's one thing I've noticed this past week and throughout the winter. It seems like the fish are just getting more and more grouped up, which is pretty normal as the water cools off. And I'm doing the same thing I've talked about in previous weeks. I'm getting in these areas, I'm putting on my electronics, I'm looking for bait. The biggest thing is finding where that bait's at. If you get in a creek, or if you even main lake, when you're looking around these bars and these creek mouths and stuff like that, if there's not bait, you're not going to catch fish. So that's just one thing. I turn side scan on, look for the big clouds of bait. And then once I find that, I look for the structure around where that bait's at. I'll look for the brush piles. I'll look for the rock piles. I'll look for the creek channel bends, anywhere maybe that creek winds up against a bank. Maybe it's a little steeper bank, some rock. But I have to find that bait first, it seems like, to get bit. So really this week was all about 2 baits. I mean, that was it. And it's one I've talked about every week. Or it's a couple I've talked about every week. The first is a Diamond Baits Alabama rig. And this is kind of a newer company. He makes some really, really cool Alabama rigs. And dude, I love them. What's cool about them, if I can get this one open, a lot of Alabama rigs, you kind of got to bend the wires to get them set in place. This one, as soon as you pop it out, and that's brand new, it almost automatically goes into place. I mean, that's pretty much it. You don't have to adjust nothing, which to me, that means it's a lot stronger wire than one that you have to bend. The less bending you can do with an Alabama rig, the better off you are. I'm throwing the 4.5-inch size. They make a 3.5-inch size, which is, I love it a lot when I'm fishing maybe around grass or around brush, because you can almost throw it like a spinner bait. But that 4.5-inch size, they make a bigger one. It's really good. For me, that's the perfect size right now. And then throwing these little True Bass 1/8 ounce heads on them. That's just something pretty standard for me. I always throw an 1/8 ounce Alabama rig head. What I really like about these True Bass is they have a little screw lock on them. And that just, for me, it saves you money, because you start throwing an Alabama rig with other brand swim baits, I'm not going to say any names, but you're lucky to get 1 or 2 fish per swim bait. But with these True Bass, man, you can catch a lot of fish. It's really good. One thing I've talked about before with these Diamond Baits Alabama rigs is a really cool swivel design. Instead of opening up the swivel like you normally would, it's cold outside, your hands are cold, you don't want to take your gloves off. All you got to do is take that jig head, put it on there like that, and just twist it on. And it'll slide right up that little swivel, and there you go. I mean, that's all it is. Super, super simple. And then when it comes to swim baits, I've been throwing two sizes mainly. I've been throwing the 4-inch, and that's Bass Whacker. That's a good one. Been throwing the 4.5-inch some too. That's the citron color. And then this has been a really good color. That's the True Blue. I talked about it last week some. And usually what I do, I put the citron one in the middle. I will put the Bass Whacker one in the middle some. I'm actually going to put the Bass Whacker one in the middle of this one. But I like it to be either a white or like a chartreuse color in the middle, just because I think it kind of attracts the fish. We've had a lot of rain come through here the past couple weeks, and the water has been staining a lot of places. And I just like something that'll get that fish's attention. But all you do, you get that little swim bait. Like I said, I usually put a white or a chartreuse one in the middle. I'll put something natural on the sides, like that True Blue one. And then for the dummy swimmers, which is this Alabama rig comes with little screw locks, which is nice. For the dummy swimmers, I just put some cheap swim bait. I don't care what it is. In Tennessee, you're only allowed to throw 3 hooks on your Alabama rig, which is kind of stupid in my opinion, but it is what it is, and it still catches a ton of fish, so it's fine really. So what I do, put it on there, screw it on, and you're good to go. You do that for 3 of them, put you a couple dummies on there, screw them on, and you're good to go. And that 25-pound bag we had, several of our fish came off that. We did have a big one on the Yo-Zuri Rattling Vibe that day, but that was a great bait. And what I'm doing with that, I'm looking for, one thing that was really good for us is areas that, let's say there was a shallow flat somewhere, anywhere where that shallow flat would come out and meet the channel, meet them ditches. That was kind of the key for us, because the water got super, super cold. Tuesday when I was out, the water was like 39 in some places even. So a lot of them bait fish, they can't live up there super shallow when it gets cold. So I was finding those first drops, a lot of them fish live in less than 5 foot of water on this lake. As soon as the fish, that bait pulls out, where's the first place that bait will go that drops from 5 to 10? And that was kind of the key on Tuesday when we had that really big bag of fish. And like I said, Alabama rig was good. And then I cannot help but talk about this thing every week because it's a daggum fish catcher. And that's that Yo-Zuri Rattling Vibe. It saved our day on the second day that I got this past week. It was, I think, Wednesday. We were fishing shallow. I had one guy throwing a rig. I had one guy throwing a rattle trap. We were catching a few here and there, kind of tough. And then they came up schooling. And when them fish this time of year are in less than 3 foot of water, less than even 5 foot of water, I opt for a Rattling Vibe more than I opt for an Alabama rig. And same thing, I've talked about this color. That's the citrus color. That's a 5/8 ounce size, so it's a little bit heavier than a 1/2 ounce, which, man, you can cast it just a little bit further, which for us was huge because I don't want to get too close to them fish and spook them. They were chasing some bait around a point, so we were sitting way off, making a bomb cast, and they were biting out there at the end of our cast, and it was really fun. That color was really good, and then knocked over a rod. That color, and then I got some grass on it. That royal purple, that's also another Yo-Zuri Rattling Vibe. It's just something about this brand in the wintertime. It just got a really cool shimmy. And it seems to get bit just better than any other rattle trap I've thrown. Throwing that on a 16-pound test, you get a good long cast. Throwing it on a 7.2 medium heavy, which Dr. Tackle rod. It's got a good limber tip, but it's got a strong backbone. And the key to that is how we've been working it. If you throw that Rattling Vibe out there right now and you just burn it back, you're not going to get bit. What we've had to do is you throw it out there and you'll yo-yo it way up and follow it down. I'm actually going to attach a video of me catching a couple fish to this video so you can see exactly how I'm working that Rattling Vibe. And sometimes I yo-yo it way up, and a lot of times I'll kind of double pump it. You'll see in this video that I'm going to attach, I kind of hop it twice. It looks like it's fling. And that's just been a killer this week. Rotating between, this Rattling Vibe up shallow, the Alabama rig a little bit deeper. And that's, from what I've seen, that's the main thing that you need. You can catch a few on a jerkbait. I've been throwing that Yo-Zuri jerkbait some, catching a few on it. And there's always different ways to catch fish. You know, if we have some rain move in, you can get on them banks with that small kind of tight wobble crankbait I talked about last week, and that hardcore crankbait, and still catch some fish. But that's kind of my two go-tos this time of year. Now, for me, I'm staying really above Saudi Creek North. And from what I've noticed, they eat bigger bait on that end of the lake. It seems like what's happened over the past few years on Lake Chickamauga is we haven't had a good shad kill, especially on the low end. So what's happened on the low end of the lake, you know, from Saudi down to the south end dam, they get on these little bitty bait fish and they eat them all winter long. And you can still catch those fish, but what you have to do to catch those fish is you kind of downsize swim baits. Now, if you're planning on going to the low end anytime soon, little 2.5 inch swim baits, 1/8 ounce head. The key down there is the same thing. You look for that bait. It's going to be a little bit deeper a lot of times, 8 to 13 foot of water with the water being cold, maybe even 15. One thing that works really good, you look for birds. Just, you know, you're fishing where the birds start diving. They're eating what the bass are eating. Pay attention to that. That and then just a small blade bait, you know, something with a real tight wobble. That works good. Me, I prefer the upper end this time of year. You know, like I said, from Saudi all the way up to Watts Bar Dam. That's where I feel most comfortable. It's just, and it's closer to my house. That's a big reason as well. But that's what works for me. Those two baits have been working really good. Also, if you go to the low end, you know, still throw that Alabama rig around. You know, big fish will always eat it. What I've noticed on the low end, it seems like if you get them creeks, they eat that little bait. But if you can find fish on the main lake on the low end, they'll still eat them bigger bait. They'll still eat some gizzard shad. So you can get away with an Alabama rig and then that bigger rattling vibe. Now, if you get a couple warm days, and this goes for all over the lake, a lot of them fish are going to push up shallow. So definitely have that rattling vibe tied on. And on that low end, I'll even throw that 3/8 ounce size, which, you know, the next size down. It's a killer down there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, good luck in the water this week. I'm going to attach this video of me catching a couple fish, me, you know, throwing this rattling vibe, and y'all can really see how I yo-yo it. And good luck in the water. I know a lot of people are fishing the BFL this weekend, and hope to see a couple giant bags. I'm going to be out of town at my first Bassmaster Open of the year, so hopefully that'll be a good trip. But thanks, guys, and I'll catch y'all next time. Every freaking cast, dude. Missouri rattling vibe. See if I can get y'all a couple real quick. Get this one unhooked. I've been sitting here for about an hour now catching them every cast. There's one specific little cast you have to make. And just yo-yoing that rattling vibe up and down. They're smoking it when it falls. Didn't really make the right cast on that one. See if I can get one here. A little too far left, but we'll see. We got hit. There he is. It's so fun, dude. Decent little fish. Not catching no giants, but a bunch of 3 and 4 pounders, which that's a pretty good day of fishing, you know. It's a decent one, probably 2 3/4, 3 pounds. He's fighting like he's bigger than that. That's over 3. It's a little bit better than I thought. I'm gonna boat flip them on in here. Big boat flipping. Good one though. I mean, that one's probably closer to 4, but it's so fun. I mean, every single cast. That little Missouri rattling vibe. They're eating big bait. You see there's a tail down its throat. About a 4 pounder. We'll get back in there.